What are your strengths? Do you know what some of the most effective strengths are to give in an interview? Well, following on from my video sharing an example answer to what is your greatest weakness, I'm going to share not only the best strengths for interviews by sharing the top 15 most effective strengths, I'm also going to share a full example answer so you have some example takeaways for your own job interview. I'm Anne-Marie Celeste, an interview coach and HR recruitment specialist with over 11 years hiring experience. I cover tough interview questions and answers on this channel. If you haven't already, do like and subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss a video. Now, in your interview, be prepared for this question in any of the following formats. What is your greatest strength? Or what is your strength? What are your greatest strengths? That's a really popular interview question. What are your top 3 strengths? What are your strengths and weaknesses? You can check out the weaknesses video I mentioned earlier for a good answer to that. I'll link that in the description box below this video. What is your key strength? What would your boss or colleagues say your key strengths are? So here's the first key strength and example answer. Calm under pressure. One of my greatest strengths is my ability to stay calm under pressure. I have a knack for keeping my head in the game and focusing on the task at hand, even when things are getting hectic. This strength has served me well, both in my personal life and in my career. Whenever I find myself in the midst of a crisis, I'm able to take a step back and assess the situation objectively. This allows me to make sound decisions and take decisive action. My team have fed back to me that they find my calm demeanor quite soothing, which helps to diffuse tense situations. In my previous job, I was often working to tight deadlines and dealing with difficult customers, but no matter what was happening, I always managed to stay calm and get the job done. My co-workers would often come to me when they were feeling stressed out because they knew that I could help them get back on track. I'm the same way in my personal life. When things are getting overwhelming, I can always be counted on to keep a level head and find a solution. So the strongest part of this answer is here. You can see right here that it includes a comprehensive example so that the interviewer can actually imagine you in that situation. You're not simply saying, I'm really calm, trust me. So in your own answer, it can be really effective to give an example of how you've put that strength to good use in your professional and personal life, and it will take your answer to the next level. Now, here's a quick bonus answer for you using a different strength, reducing complexity. One of my greatest strengths is my ability to reduce complexity. In today's fast-paced world, there's often a lot of information to process and it can be overwhelming. I found that I'm able to take complex situations and break them down into manageable pieces. This allows me to see the big picture and identify the most important elements. In my current role as a project manager, I deal with this all the time. For example, a few years ago, the company was facing a very complex problem. We were losing money hand over fist, and we had to find a way to turn things around quickly. After much discussion, I put together a solution and proposal to outsource our manufacturing to a third-party company. It was a very risky move, but it ended up paying off big time. Not only did it save us money, it also simplified a number of complex processes and allowed us to focus on our core competencies. As a result of this creative solution, we were able to turn around our business and become profitable again. I became a valued asset to the company due to this solution. Now, if you're getting value from this video, let me know, like, comment, and subscribe. Show the YouTube algorithm that this video is helpful and it will appear in front of more people. And there are other ways that you can support the channel in the description box below this video. Now, I really wanted to include that example because it includes a method that is an absolute powerhouse for answering questions. It includes the STAR method. So, what is the STAR method? The STAR method, also known as the STAR technique, is a structured technique or framework that you can use to answer interview questions. It stands for situation, task, action, result, and it ensures that your answer hits all the points the interviewer is looking for, that an example is included in your answer, which means the interviewer doesn't have to just take your word for it, they can see you in that situation, that your answer is in story format, which makes your answer much more engaging and memorable. And sometimes the interviewer is using the STAR method to assess your answer. They want you to include a strong example that includes a situation, the tasks, what actions you took, and the result. Now, you don't need to use the STAR method in every answer, but it's super helpful and makes your answer comprehensive and much more powerful. And you might have also already spotted that there were not one, not two, but 5 results in this answer demonstrating that with one action, you created a ripple effect that ended in 5 positive results. So you can see in the example here that the situation is that the company was losing money. The task is to find the solution to tackle that loss. The action was to propose an outsourcing plan. Result 1 was that the company saved money. Result 2 was that it simplified complex processes. Result 3 was that as a result of the simplified processes, it allowed the company to focus on core competencies. Result 4 was not only did the company save money, but it also became profitable again. And result 5 was that you became a valued asset to the company as a result of the actions you took. If you want a more detailed explanation and some solid STAR method example answers, you can check out this video. It's got you covered with 4 example answers included. So I'll link that in the description box below this video. And now I'm going to give you the top 15 best strengths that you can use in an interview so that you can take these away and use them to pass your own interview. But do make sure that you do prepare properly and practice your own answers. You can use my free top 20 interview answers guide to help you do that. It's packed with example answers to difficult questions like why should we hire you? How do you handle pressure at work? Also, what you should be asking your interviewers at the end of your interview. It's free and you can grab yours by clicking the link in the description box below this video. So strength 1 is conflict management. Conflict is almost inevitable in a work setting and it can be fairly mild or extreme. So the ability to resolve it is a brilliant answer to what are your strengths. If you're asked about a time when you had to resolve a conflict, be sure to emphasize your ability to stay calm and collaborative. You can also include in your answer that whether it's a disagreement between co-workers or a clash of personalities, conflict is a natural part of the working world. And while some people might see conflict as a negative, you see the positive because conflict forces people to communicate and problem solve. And those are 2 skills that are essential in any job. 2 is critical thinking. Critical thinking is the ability to analyze a situation and make an objective judgment. Thinking critically means that you're able to see beyond your own biases and assumptions and assess the situation objectively. You can actually demonstrate critical thinking in your interview by asking insightful questions. Critical thinking is a fantastic strength to use to answer the greatest strengths question. A couple of examples could be a situation where you decided to explain something to a colleague instead of doing it for them because you realized it would help them to learn, or an example of how you introduced a new strategy or method by looking at a competitor data or information, legally of course, and incorporated that into your plans or introduced that to your colleagues or management or to your team. Strength 3 is adaptability. So adaptability is a great strength for an interview because it shows that you're open to change and can mentally and emotionally handle inevitable change that happens in any company. Employers are always looking for candidates who are adaptable and have a decent tolerance for ambiguity. This is a brilliant strength to use in a startup where change is constant and nothing is guaranteed, because when you're able to adapt, it shows that you have a growth mindset and that you're always learning and growing. Strength 5 is analytical skills. So many people think that being analytical is about crunching numbers, but in reality, it's much more than that. Being analytical can mean having the ability to understand complex problems and break them down into smaller, more manageable pieces. So if you're ever asked about your greatest strength, don't hesitate to say that you're an analytical thinker if you are. It just might be the thing that sets you apart from other candidates. Strength 6 is communication skills. Good communication skills are an essential strength because they tie into answers and solutions for so many areas. Strong communication skills can create and build relationships, resolve conflicts, and help you to understand others more effectively because you can clearly articulate what you mean and what you want to know. But communication skills are not just about speaking, they're also about listening, writing, and just as important, non-verbal communication. Good communication skills mean that you're more likely to notice things like changes in body language, tones of voice, lack of eye contact, or other non-verbal cues. It can also help you advance in your career by allowing you to build positive working relationships with colleagues, managers, or internal stakeholders. To demonstrate good communication skills, You can share how your communication skills helped you to solve a problem, such as working on a group project where communication was initially an issue, or where you noticed that someone was struggling and you communicated with them to explore how you could help. So we're now at Strength 7. If you haven't liked and subscribed, feel free to go ahead and do that and let me know any questions you have in the comments. 7 is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to be aware of your own emotions and the emotions of others, and the ability to manage your emotional responses. I share emotional intelligence interview questions and answers in this video. Emotional intelligence is important for any role that interacts with another person, which I imagine is almost every job, but it might be assessed more closely in roles like HR, healthcare, education, customer service, even sales. So unless you're working in total isolation, it helps to demonstrate emotional intelligence in your interview. One way to do this is to be aware of your own body language. Are you making eye contact with the interviewer? Are you smiling? So you can also share examples of awareness of other people's responses and moods at work, and how your awareness of this helped you to navigate a situation that involved another person. Strength 8 is the ability to consistently meet deadlines. How do you meet deadlines is a really popular interview question. I highly recommend you check out this video so you're not caught out in your interview. If the role you're interviewing for is a very busy role with lots of conflicting priorities and hard deadlines, then use the ability to meet deadlines as one of your greatest strengths, and talk about times where you've had to make changes, restructure processes, delegate or ask for help, or even put in extra time in order to meet a deadline. 9 is leadership. Now, many people associate leadership with high-powered jobs such as CEO, director, or heads of department. However, leadership skills are important in most jobs, even those that don't involve managing others. So leaders are often good at things like problem solving and decision making, and they have the ability to inspire and motivate others. So these skills are extremely valuable in any job, from customer service to marketing to software development. In fact, some of the most successful employees are those who know how to lead, even when they're not in a formal leadership position. So if you're looking to get ahead in your career, it's worth developing your leadership skills, and share any of those scenarios I mentioned in your interview to demonstrate that you have leadership skills. 10 is integrity. So integrity is about being able to own up to your mistakes and take accountability. Employers want to see that you have the ability and insight to take responsibility for your actions, and that you're always looking to improve. If you can demonstrate that you have integrity in an interview, you will demonstrate that essentially you're able to self-manage to a degree, which is very attractive to a potential manager. In an interview, employers will be looking to see if you have the ability to be honest and transparent. So share examples of scenarios where you spotted a mistake, and even though it took effort and time, you fixed it so it didn't cause problems for other colleagues down the line because you have integrity. Or where you implemented something that might protect customers, clients, or the company because you spotted an area for improvement. So perhaps relating to sensitive information, confidential data, or potential revenue loss. 11 is the ability to handle conflicting priorities, also known as the ability to consistently meet deadlines, which was strength number 8. I have a conflicting priorities video that covers full example answers to questions about conflicting priorities, so you can check that out. I'll link that in the description box below this video. So this is a strength for roles at all levels, whether administration, support, reception, manual labor, all the way up to managerial, heads of department, and directors. Even CEOs have tons of conflicting priorities, and only some are able to manage their time and prioritize well so that they're not constantly working long 14+ hour days. Now, in your interview, you want to demonstrate that you can handle multiple tasks simultaneously without dropping the ball. The types of examples that are good for this strength are things like working on a complex project with lots of moving parts, which create lots of priorities, and some of these will inevitably conflict with each other. Or examples where deadlines were moved, maybe not by you, maybe by another person, maybe a manager or someone more senior, and you had to rise to the occasion. 12 is motivational skills. So when interviewers see that you have strong motivational skills, they'll know you're likely to be a high-performing employee who also inspires others, and that's important because You would then be able to play a role in keeping up morale, and employers are always attracted to candidates who help to motivate the rest of the team or department. For motivational skills, share examples of anything you put in place to keep others on track and motivated. So you might have suggested a check-in process or system to keep the team on target or working towards a tight deadline. Maybe you've suggested incentives for a team that do a lot of repetitive work like customer service or telesales, and you might have suggested lunches or prizes based on achievable targets to motivate the team. 13, organizational skills. Organizational skills are often overlooked as a strength, but in an interview, they can be the difference between being hired and being passed over, particularly if the role you're interviewing for has a high workload. There are a number of ways to show that you have strong organizational skills as a strength. For example, you could talk about how you manage your workload or how you plan and organize your work schedule. You could also mention your team projects that you've been involved in that required long-term planning and lots of heavy organization. 14 is problem solving. So that's an important skill for any job. An employer wants to see that you are solution oriented and not someone that focuses on the negatives of the problem at length and spreads that negativity to the team or your manager. Problem solving skills show that you're resourceful and adaptable, as well as naturally analytical and solutions focused. So share examples like, let's say that you were working in a team that received a high volume of work or customer requests on such a consistent basis that it became unmanageable. You might recommend a solution, a new system or request process to make things more streamlined and create a better experience for those negatively affected in the team as well as the customers. Or maybe you've come up with something like a system to improve communication between a client and your own team. So introducing a system for documenting customer feedback could be a great demonstration of problem-solving skills in your interview. Strength 15 is listening skills. I wish I could demonstrate how important this is. I almost regret putting it at the end of the video, but it's critical in all areas of life, to be honest, in an interview, in a job, and in managing most relationships, whether personal, professional. So demonstrate listening skills by asking key questions in your interview that show that you have been listening. And if you ask a question to your interviewer, like, I noticed that you mentioned X, or the job description mentions X, and I wanted to ask a question about that, or can you elaborate on that? It shows that you've been intently paying attention and your question is very intentional. It's another way to demonstrate the emotional intelligence skills that I mentioned earlier in skill number 7. Listening skills are severely underrated, but I would argue that you would struggle to pass an interview without them. So examples you can give are things like using listening skills to notice something that was out of the ordinary with a colleague. Maybe they had an upsetting conversation or they seemed quiet and withdrawn, and it ended with you helping them to make positive steps to speak to someone or get help. Or it could be something as simple as taking the time to listen to an angry customer or client. Sometimes people know that something's gone wrong and that it can't be changed. They can't change the past, but they just want someone to listen to them and empathize. All right, guys, I'm looking forward to answering your questions in the comments. Do let me know if this was helpful, and thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.